I figured it out. I figured it out.
You know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you at a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance man.
Congratulations, brother.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, I figured it out. Okay. So for some reason or another, we're having a very hard time believing that it's possible for Zach Wilson to achieve 4,000 yards this season. I'm here to show you how easy it could potentially be for Zach Wilson. So you're probably wondering, okay, like, this is another Jets fan just getting on here and just spitting optimism and hyperbole or whatever it is you want to believe. But trust me, as you saw in the clip before, that wasn't like acting or anything like that. In fact, my wife was actually taping me when I was doing the research, and it gave me the idea of taping some of the research while I was doing it, so I can go ahead and do a little short montage in the beginning. So I hope you guys appreciated that. But ultimately what this means is I put a lot of work into this video. So please like and subscribe like right now. Like right now, I'm gonna need you to like and subscribe. I don't usually ask for y'all to do that in the beginning of a video, but with the amount of work and time I just put in creating this for you guys, so I can express to you how Zach Wilson is going to break the current standing New York Jets passing record this season, I think like that rates a like and or a subscribe, especially if you're a Jets fan and you're enjoying the content. So in 2021, the NFL saw 10 quarterbacks hit the 4,000 yards passing mark. Of those 10 quarterbacks, 8 wide receivers were top 20 in yards after the catch in the league. Only Josh Allen and Dak Prescott achieved that feat without a yak machine or a yak crutch. 80% of the individuals that were able to get to a 4,000 yard mark this season had yards after the catch benefits from the top 20 receivers and or running backs and or tight ends in the NFL. But wait, there's more. Now, of those 8 quarterbacks that I talked to you about, Tom Brady, which led the league obviously last year with 5,316 yards passing, had 2 yak crutches. 2. Godwin and Fournette, both of which were huge impacts in him achieving his passing yards leader stats this past season. Matthew Stafford, literally at his disposal, had the NFL's leading yak leader. Yak leader. Leading yak guy. Leading yak weapon. There it is. Leading yak weapon on his roster in Cooper Kupp. In fact, out of Matthew Stafford's 4,886 yards, Cooper Kupp accounted for 846 yards after the catch. That's a whopping 17% of the yardage count for Matthew Stafford that pretty much was handled by Cooper Kupp after he caught the ball. 17%. Patrick Mahomes, also in that 4,000 club, right? Considered to be one of the best of the best of the best when it comes to quarterback play in the NFL. He had 3 yak monsters, yak machines, yak crutches, however you want to look at them, at his disposal in 2021. Of his 4,839 in passing yards, 1,518 of them came, that's right, you guessed it, after the catch. Yards after the catch. 1,518 yards of his total came from yards after the catch. And I'm only accounting for the individuals that made it in the top 20 at that stat line. More of his yards for all these individuals, I'm only accounting for the top 20 wide receivers or running backs or tight ends in the league that have accounted for individuals' yardage. That means is 3 individuals on the Kansas City Chiefs accounted for 32% of Patrick Mahomes' total passing yards. 3 individuals accounted for 32% after they caught the ball. Mahomes had nothing to do with what they could do after they catch the ball. But after the fact, they were able to account for 32% of his passing yards. Okay, great. So we know Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes all had assistance from, yards after the catch playmakers to achieve their totals. But hear me out. Of all those 4,000 yards QBs, all the QBs in that 4,000 yard club, passing yards club, we have a total of 37,806 yards in the 2021 season, collectively between those 10 guys. Of that 37,806 yards, 13,400 yards of it came from yards after the catch. That's an average of 35.4%. 35.4% of the 4,000 yards plus group achieved their feat, with 35% of those yards being accounted for by no effort of their own, but simply by getting the ball in their playmakers' hands and letting those guys pack their stats for them. 35%. This is where it gets funnier, right? So I decided, well, okay, let me do the math. Let's go ahead and take that 35% accountability across the entire top 10. If you do that, if you deduct the 35% with just accounting for the yak weapons these guys had in the top 20, in the league, only 2 quarterbacks achieved the feat of 4,000 plus yards, i.e. Dak Prescott and Josh Allen. In which case, they are the exception, not the rule. 80% of the quarterbacks that threw for 4,000 yards last year would not have done so if not for the heavy assistance of their yards after the catch weapons, playmakers, crutches, whatever you want to call it. The 4,000 yard mark is something that is extremely plausible for the New York Jets. Here's how. Because Zach Wilson has all the yak help he's going to need. He has a herd of yak at his disposal. Listen to these stats. In 2021, in terms of yak stats, these are just yak yardage. I'm not even counting anything else. Purely yak yardage. Again, yards after the catch. Michael Carter accounted for 341 yak yards. Keep in mind, some of those yards were from Joe Flacco and from Mike White. Zach Wilson didn't play the entire season because of injury. This is, again, if we have Zach Wilson playing an entire season, 17 games, how easy it could be for him to hit 4,000. But, again, Mike Carter accounted for 341 yak yards. Ty Johnson surprised me. Wasn't expecting this, but he accounted for 334 yak yards. Braxton Berrios accounted for 264 yak yards. Elijah Moore, in very, very minimal game opportunity, obviously, accounted for 207 yards after the catch. Here are some additions to the New York Jets that weren't on the roster last year. Tyler Conklin accounted for 327 yards after the catch for his quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Our boy CJ Uzomah accounted for 300 yards after the catch for Joe Burrow last year. Garrett Wilson. Now, this one was rough. So, I don't know, maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but I couldn't find any statistical relevance in terms of yards after the catch for any kid in college. I couldn't find it for Brees, I couldn't find it for Garrett, and I couldn't find it for Jeremy. So, I'm not gonna lie to you, I got a little lazy and I didn't do Jeremy Ruckert. That's blasphemy. But in terms of his total yardage, I didn't think that number was gonna go ahead and be extreme, or too low. Like, I mean, really, he wasn't used enough in the offensive scheme, and I don't think he's going to be used enough in this year's offensive scheme either to go ahead and really put a dent on this number. So even if he adds anything to it, it's just a plus. So not being able to get yards after the catch data points on Garrett Wilson, on Brees Hall, was a little bit tough. I watched every single catch they made in the 2021 season several times over to make sure I didn't miss anything. And again, some of the video you guys watched in the beginning, that little montage, was of me literally counting their yards every time they caught a ball. So again, I'm gonna ask you again to like and subscribe. I put a lot of work into this video because this is the formula that I think will allow most of y'all to see, wow, okay, Zach Wilson has all the weapons. We believe he has the arm talent and the ability. This kid really can throw 4,000 yards this season if they stay healthy and stay consistent. But I digress. I had to watch every tape, every catch of Garrett Wilson and count every yard he took after a catch. I had to do the same thing with Brees Hall. And these numbers are freaking astonishing. So, Tyler Conklin last year accounted for 327. CJ accounted for 300. Garrett Wilson accounted for 493 yards after the catch last season. And to be honest with you, I think it's higher than that. But that was I got 493 one time, I got 497 one time, and then 505 going back and recounting the yards. I got kids, so I could get distracted, I think, potentially easily. So I went with the lowest number that I calculated. 493 yards after the catch is what Garrett Wilson gave to CJ Stroud last year. Just take a look at how many yards Garrett Wilson accounted for last year. And tell me that's not freaking impressive. Brees Hall. Now, again, Brees Hall only had 302 receiving yards last year. But of that 302, 157 yards came after the catch. More than 50% of his receiving yards came after the catch. Wait, there's more. Corey Davis was good for 329 yards after the catch in his last year with the Tennessee Titans. Corey Davis, playing in his more traditional role of a slot receiver or wide receiver 2. Let's be honest, love the guy, but he's not a wide receiver 1. He performs his best at that wide receiver 2 position, slot position, etc. Which in this year, he'll be able to do more so because Elijah Moore is obviously wide receiver 1. We're not asking Zach Wilson to throw 4,000 air yards. And a lot of quarterbacks don't throw for that 4,000 mark or even come close to it via air yards. Yards after the catch has been the statistical glue that has impacted all the 4,000 yard passing club members from last year. That seems to be the common formula when it comes to achieving that feat. The current passing yards record for the New York Jets is 4,007 yards. 4,007 yards. That's the number that Zach Wilson needs to beat. That's it. That's it. He is going to beat that record this year. If Zach Wilson plays all 17 games this season, he will beat the standing passing record for the New York Jets of 4,007 yards. He's going to beat it. The next closest was, I think, Ryan Fitzpatrick for like 3,900 or something like that. All right. Zach Wilson is going to beat that record this season. The kid has all the arm talent we could ever ask for in a quarterback. He's got arm strength. He's got mobility. He's got the capability to go ahead and be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He does. I truly believe that. Again, it doesn't matter how much talent he has until he puts it all on the table and he shows he can play at this level. Last year, we didn't see whether or not like this was legitimately our franchise guy, but we saw flashes. We saw flashes of an individual who can ball, just straight ball out. And The New York Jets took this offseason and they put him in a position right now to where it's all on him. It's all on him. Like, he's got the tools. That's a lot of weapons. The Jets put so many weapons around this kid that 4,000 yards is not out of the question. It's just not. We're asking Zach Wilson to throw for 235 yards a game. And no, I'm lying. We're not even asking him to do that. We're asking him to go ahead and give his playmakers an opportunity to stack them up for 235 yards per game. But yards after the catch is going to dictate the success of a quarterback. This offense is geared to get the ball out quickly and efficiently to playmakers. The benefit is we also know that Zach Wilson can make those ridiculous freaking NFL throws. So we're asking him to dink and dunk his way, in essence, to 4,000 yards. But for a kid with that talent, that level of arm talent, I mean, listen to this. Now, just out of the top 10, just slightly out of the top 10, we had Matt Ryan throw for 3,968 yards. Jimmy Garoppolo, in 15 games, threw for 3,810 yards in an offense that's very similar to San Francisco. Garoppolo, a game manager, in 15 games, threw for 3,810 yards. Zach Wilson's got a stronger arm. In terms of talent, I am not going to sit here and tell you that we have a Yds Samuel. We don't know if we have a Yds Samuel. We definitely don't know if we've got a Kittle on a roster. But we might not have those individual top tier individuals in the game. Kittle last year accounted for 443 yards of Jimmy Garoppolo's passing stats last year. Yds Samuel accounted for 779 yards of Jimmy Garoppolo's passing stats last year. We might not have a Debo or a Kittle, but we have a stack of individuals who could achieve that feat for Zach Wilson. 235 yards per game. And we're asking him to get the ball into the hands of some pretty elite yak playmakers. We've got some elite to good to elite. Like, that's a pretty good range to be in. We have the talent. I do believe we have the offensive scheme. I do believe we have the quarterback. You know, we saw Zach Wilson do some really good things toward the back end of the season last year as he got comfortable in the offense. He's got that whole year under his belt. He's going into year 2. He's proven throughout the offseason just how dedicated he is to his craft, how he wants to master this, how he wants to be great. And we also know, historically speaking, that this type of offense always see a boom in points generated and quarterback efficiency in year 2. Year 2 is when this offense, once implemented, usually shines. Zach Wilson's going into year 2 of it. Our offensive coordinator is going into year 2 of being a coordinator, and he looked so much better once he got up in the booth, down from the sideline. So I can assure you he's starting off in the booth this season. Zach Wilson is going to pass for 4,000 yards this year. In fact, Zach Wilson's passing stats this year are going to look like this: 4,200 plus yards, 34 touchdowns through the air, 4 touchdowns on the ground, a 64% completion percentage. He is going to, however, in that process of developing, stepping up, elevating his game, throw for 14 interceptions. If I'm wrong by the end of the season, then I'm wrong. If I'm right, then the New York Jets are literally talking about the playoffs come December. And at the end of the day, as a Jets fan, you should hope and be excited about the opportunity of being correct in this aspect. New York Jets have all the weapons. We'll see it develop on the field. I do believe that we have leaders in the right place. I do believe that in the coaching staff, We might not know if they can coach yet, but we know we have a leader in Robert Saleh, a leader of men. I do believe that Saleh can go ahead and get this thing figured out. I think he has the passion, the dedication, the work ethic, and the IQ to figure this head coaching thing out. It was year one last year. We saw the rookie mistakes across the board in coaching and in the players. This is year two. They got their feet under them, so to speak. And training camp starts tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm beyond excited. You should be excited. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be announcing the winner of the Keyshawn Johnson helmet. I think right now we're sitting at 22 individuals. 22 individuals right now qualified, so 1 out of 22 chance. I have to look to make sure about that. I wasn't prepared to go ahead and plug this in one more time. But if you haven't signed up for it, again, go back and watch the autographed New York Jets giveaway helmet video. You still got time. We're going to be cutting off, I guess, enrollment at 6 p.m. tomorrow Central Time, because I'm going to go live at 7 p.m. Central to announce the winner. And again, I'm going to make sure it's live on camera. Everybody sees it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go ahead and show that screen, or if I'm just going to pull up my iPad, put it in front of my face, click go, and then you'll see who won before me. Like, we'll figure that out tomorrow night. But that's the formula, guys. That's the formula. At the end of the day, what it breaks down to is QB consistency. He's got to stay healthy. Play calling is going to play a big part of whether or not he successfully achieves this feat. Getting the ball in his playmakers' hands, especially those yards after the catch playmakers, is going to be key, which in any case, any one of his offensive skill players, he gets the ball into their hands, he's putting it into a yak monster's hands. That's an easy part of it. We have to reduce those drops. Last year, that really impacted Zach Wilson's stats. It also impacted momentum during the games. And we need to see those drops, like, you know what I'm saying, they need to just go away if possible. But let's minimize the drops. And that's going to equate to that 4,000 plus yard season. That season that will ultimately break the current New York Jets passing record of 4,007 yards. Like and subscribe. Ayo, season's here tomorrow. Things are about to get exciting. Can't wait to go ahead and get out there week one for the game opener. But go Jets. Go Jets. I really hope you appreciated this and you enjoyed the video. More of them coming. But man, that was some work. That was some work. Y'all have a good one. And if you can hear that, it's... Sorry about that. That was trash pickup. Actually, recycling pickup.
Congratulations, brother.